Hello, hi. Good evening and welcome to the 22nd Annual International Public Policy Forum Awards Ceremony. My name is Andrea Sadberry. I'm the IPPF Executive Director. Before we start, a quick housekeeping item. We have found someone's ring. So it looks like a men's ring. So if that's yours after the awards ceremony, please come and see us. We'd love to get that back to you. On behalf of the Brewer Foundation and New York University, thank you for being here this evening as we celebrate our Elite 8 teams, one of whom will soon be named the next IPPF World Champion. This year was one of the IPPF's largest and most competitive, as more than 220 teams submitted qualifying round essays. We received essays from schools in Australia, China, Singapore, Czech Republic, South Africa. Our Elite 8 teams represent schools in 5 U.S. states, Canada, and Singapore. At this time, let's recognize our teams. Teams, if you will, please stand as I call your names. EEC Debate from Toronto, Canada. The Hockaday School from Dallas, Texas. Mountain View, Los Altos Speech and Debate from Mountain View, California. Mountain Vista High School from Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Notre Dame San Jose from San Jose, California. Potomac Oak from Rockville, Maryland. UWC Southeast Asia from Singapore. The Singapore team actually had another competitor join us virtually today during the quarterfinal debate, so we want to recognize that student as well. And last but not least, Wasatch Independent Debate League from Riverton, Utah. We have several special guests with us we would like to acknowledge at this time. If we can please wait until the end for a round of applause. I'd first like to introduce our final panel judges, NYU Global Debate Program Director Will Baker, NYU President Emeritus John Sexton, journalist and scholar James Traub, and IPPF Advisory Board members Christina Phillips and Coach Dave Houston. I'm also pleased to recognize Mr. William Brewer, who co-founded the national litigation firm of Brewer Attorneys and Counselors. He also helped found the IPPF and now serves on its IPPF Advisory Board. Other members of the IPPF Advisory Board with us tonight are Miha Andrick, David Baker, Will Baker, Alex Pui, and Trey Smith. Can we please give them all a big round of applause? We would also like to thank and recognize two very special groups. The members of the NYU debate team. This year they judged literally hundreds of written debates. Many of them are here tonight in their capacity as NYU ambassadors. So every year they are teamed with one team and they help serve as a guide and a mentor while they're here during finals weekend. So we thank them. And a special thank you to Jessica Lee and Jasmine McClure, who served as our IPPF co-coordinators. So they served as the liaison between the NYU debate team and my office. So thank you to them. And we also want to thank the members of the IPPF Circle of Champions, our alumni organization. Every year, this group of former champions judges the written and oral debates. This year, they also mentored 20 new teams that had never competed in the written rounds before. So they were able to serve as a point source and resource for those teams, and we thank them for their contribution this year. A round of applause for them. We also want to recognize a very special group with us here in the audience this evening, the members of the Brewer Foundation Future Leaders Program. Can you please stand? The Brewer Foundation Future Leaders Program provides academic resources and leadership training to deserving students from the Dallas Independent School District. We are so glad to have you with us here this weekend in New York. Thanks for being here. Well, very shortly, we will name the next IPPF World Champion. That champion will receive a $10,000 grand prize. But first, I'd like to invite Travis Carter with Brewer Attorneys and Counselors to come to the podium.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. It's my privilege on behalf of the Brewer Foundation to share some very special news about the IPPF tonight and to comment on its efforts to recognize outstanding performance in debate. Before I begin, let me just say I see a lot of familiar faces here, people who have been with this program since the Brewer Foundation founded it 22 years ago. And as many of you know, when we began, the idea was to develop a new expression of debate, one that had a focus on written scholarship, oral advocacy, and was done in a unique format. And back then, I should tell the students, we were called the National Public Policy Forum, or NPPF, and it was during those formative years that Bill Brewer had the idea to introduce our contest to John Sexton, his longtime friend and an advocate for debate. We invited John to the contest finals, and at that time they were held in Dallas. He served as a judge of the finals panel, and he was our keynote speaker. Now, it won't surprise many of you to know that after meeting John and receiving the warm embrace for which he's known, more than a few of those students went on to actually attend NYU. Who could blame them for wanting to follow in the footsteps of someone as special as John? Between his closing remarks at the NPPF and his return to New York, John called me because he had come up with an idea. We should get NYU officially involved in this debate contest. And so a partnership was soon born between the Brewer Foundation and NYU. And tonight we're celebrating 20 years of that partnership. And so now we had John and Bill working together, as Will Baker and I used to say, our own Batman and Robin. The contest, it began to flourish and it began to grow. And we were attracting more students, we were gaining national attention from premier debate programs, and we were earning a lot of recognition. It wasn't much longer that we moved the event finals to New York, and John would often host a reception during the weekend proceedings. Now, you always listen to John when he talks, but sometimes for effect, he would get on top of a table, as you can tell. And we expanded our advisory board. We invested in marketing programs. We earned endorsements from literally all of the world's leading debate organizations. And frankly, I thought that this contest had reached the mountaintop. But then one night my phone rang, and it was John and Bill on the phone, and they were very excited to share some news. They said, Travis, we're going to take our debate contest global. We're now going to be known as the International Public Policy Forum, or IPPF. And one of them remarked, yeah, all you have to do is change out the N with an I, and you need a new logo. And I said, well, this all sounds exciting. We should do it. And they said, by the way, we want to be one of the largest debate contests in the world. We want to reach students across the globe. We want to offer this contest and provide a window of opportunity to debaters everywhere. We want to be one of the largest, most inclusive, and most competitive high school debate contests ever. And I thought to myself, well, that's all you guys want to do. But I was excited about it, and without missing a beat, I said, well, we're going to do that. And speaking on behalf of David Baker and Will Baker, who weren't on the phone, I said, this team's going to love the idea, and we're going to make it happen. And we did. And what we're a part of today and this weekend is what we've achieved through our collective passion for this contest. I do want to thank Bill. I want to thank John, our advisory board, and all of the many coaches and students who have become part of our IPPF family. All of you are part of the fabric of this institution. It's been an incredible and inspiring journey. And I should say, In many ways, it was part of John's vision that helped us build the blueprint for what we actually have today. And that's a global contest that attracts thousands of students from around the world. It's no surprise to any of us that John would be a catalyst for something so ambitious or something so rewarding. He's been an advocate for debate literally his entire life. He once said this of debate: "It formed my mind, it shaped the way I look at the world, and it prepared me for a vocation in the world of thought. In short, debate changed my life." Now I'll invite John this evening to share his personal reflections on being a debate coach, but suffice it to say, to all the students, I want you to know this: he is a legendary one. He's a baseball and a Yankees fan. I might say he's the Babe Ruth of high school debate. He was named by the Barclay Forum at Emory University as the top high school debate coach of the past 50 years. And so today, we'd like to take a moment to thank John for his many contributions to the IPPF and his contributions to our mission to promote academic achievement. John, in your honor, we're going to introduce a new award tonight for the IPPF. It's the John E. Sexton Award. And we're going to present this award every year from now on to recognize the outstanding debater during the IPPF finals debate. It'll be voted on by the members of the judging panel. And we can think of no better way to celebrate you than through this award, which exemplifies your life's work as a debater, as a coach, and as a mentor. The award is a reflection of not only your many contributions to this contest, but to the promise we believe it holds for future generations. Newsweek reported on our contest just a few days ago, and the publication wrote this: that skills acquired through contests like IPPF can promote productive civil discourse and the principles of democracy around the world. I can't think of a much higher calling. John, on behalf of Bill and our foundation, we want to say we're honored to have you as a partner, but we're even prouder to call you a friend. Ladies and gentlemen, John Sexton.
First, you should understand that that this is all quite startling to me and a surprise. So you'll excuse me if I'm a bit overwhelmed. I want to start where we should. Where's Bill? Where's Sky? Bill and Sky, please step forward. Where's Sky? Okay. Just come down to your bride as a member of the club like me of men who married way above their heads. And you can see it literally in their case. But these are the two people, Travis would join me in saying, who are really behind so much. There are programs represented in this room that haven't been explained to you. And they've done so much to project good into the world. And they live in love. And I want to thank, on behalf of all of us, the two of you. God bless. So, in my most recent book, which is called Standing for Reason, The University in a Dogmatic Age. Dogmatic thought is thought without reasoning. In the opening, which is called Charlie Sent Me. Now, Charlie is the greatest teacher that I ever had. And I'll conjure him for you. He looked at the age of 35 when he began teaching, and he was teaching me, like Colonel Sanders of Kentucky Fried Chicken. He had the voice of James Earl Jones. And someone once said of him, in addition to all that, he had the soul of St. Francis of Assisi, the lover of all live creatures. and especially of all human creatures. And Charlie opened a world to me and 11 other boys in Brooklyn in the 1950s, long before your parents were gleams in their parents' eyes. Charlie opened the world to us in a course that we took 5 days a week, an hour each day, for sophomore, junior, and senior year, in which, before anybody talked about interdisciplinary studies, he taught us, starting with the cave paintings in Altamara and working up through the centuries, history, literature, art, and music simultaneously in one great melange. And I remember when we got to the Old Kingdom and the pyramids at Giza, I remember Charlie had the pyramids on the wall. He had slides projected on the wall, and Zither music was playing, and we had read the Book of the Dead and the Shakespearean play about Antony and Cleopatra, and of course the history of the Old Kingdom. And he said to us, we were all boys, "Boys, you will never see these pyramids because you can't drive to them." We were all street kids in Brooklyn, and we couldn't think of getting on a plane or a boat and going to Egypt. And he said, "But boys, there are pyramids south of here, built by a great civilization. You just haven't heard of these pyramids because the British didn't rob them for their museums." And that's how we got to the Pyramid of Teotihuacan, and ultimately to Chichen Itza and Tulum. The one phrase he had, which I want to give you today, because all of you are just sizzlingly smart. You didn't have anything to do with that. You get that? It just happened to you. You could have been born dumb, right? It just happened. You were born smart. And when you get that gift, the question is, how do you use it? Do you develop it? Do you work hard at it? Do you hone it? And then now that you've got a weapon in that great gift that you've been given of being smart, do you use it as persons for others to make the common good better? And Charlie did that to me. And he said, "Go out and debate." He ran the drama society. He didn't run a debate team. But he saw in me that I would thrive in debate. I was a year younger than grade. I was 12 when he sent me as a sophomore into the debate room. And it became my passion, the way it's your passion. I mean, I'm speaking to the choir here. I know about this, okay? But it became my passion. And 3 years later, we won the national championship. And there I was going off to college and 16 years old and armed with this passion for debate. And I don't know why it was. Maybe it was because my father died in the beginning of my freshman year or whatever. I can't explain it to you. But I got on a subway and went out to my sister's high school in Brooklyn. And I rang the doorbell. I'm 16, turning 17. And I said to the principal of that all-girls Catholic high school run by the nuns, "If you let me start a debating team here, the girls will be better for it. I promise you they'll get scholarships to college. I promise you they'll win national championships. But most of all, I promise you they'll be better people." And that was how, at the age of 17, I started my teaching career. I just turned 80. This is my 64th year of teaching. And last Monday, I went out to lunch with the 4 women from that first debating team who are older than me. They're in their 80s. And they said they didn't realize until relatively recently, like when I celebrated my 70th birthday, that they were older than me. They said, what were you doing teaching us? What were our parents doing? Letting you go off on your driver's ed license to drive to tournaments. What were they thinking? You know? And I did that for 15 years. And when I say to you, you'll know it's the truth. My children, like my beloved son who's here now, my dear friends like Jim, they don't believe me when I say this. Okay? But it was 100 hours a week. You know, this was serious debate. I would get to school at 3 o'clock when the girls were getting out of school, and we would work till 10. And then Thursday, we'd get in this van with 12 passenger seats, and we'd drive off, and we wouldn't come back till Sunday or Monday. You wouldn't be allowed to do this today. I mean, I know we do debate today, but not with a 17-year-old doing the driving, I'll tell you that. And off we went. And that captured me for teaching. Those women had faith in me. They believed in me. And very quickly, on Charlie's mantra of expand your horizons, play another octave of the piano. If there are notes you haven't touched, if there's a food you haven't eaten, if there's a music you haven't heard, if there's a place you can get to that you haven't gotten to, if there's a person who's different from the people that you've gotten to know, reach out and touch those notes. That's how you experience creation in its fullest. And of course, do that with your mind and do it in debate. And develop a mind habit that plays as many mental octaves as you can. Sees a proposition in as many variations as it can be made. And that was 15 years of my life. Not all to the good, by the way. My son took my college transcript to college with him when he went off to Harvard. And my college grade point average was 2.1. Because I was never in class. I said, they don't give grades like mine at Harvard. Nobody's allowed to get a D the way I got, a gentleman's D or a C. Just barely made it. But those years, those 15 years, if you get standing for reason, I want you to look at two things. I want you to look at the opening, which is a kind of preface, which is called Charlie Sent Me. And in that opening, I say, look, there are, in terms of running things, 3 15-year segments of my life. My 15 years with the St. Brendan's Women, my 15 years as Dean of NYU, my 15 years as President of NYU. The other two were actually 14, to be more biblical, sabbatical. But in any case, 3 roughly equivalent periods of my life. And I've gotten a lot of acclaim as the President of NYU or the Dean of the Law School. But I say in print, in a book that is about my concept of what a university can be at its best, I say in print, I love all 3 of the stages of my life, but if you asked me and said I could only do one, it would be the 15 years in high school debate. And those young women who went to what we would call today a low horizon school, when they finally had somebody who believed in them and set high expectations for them and the instrument of debate, they became extraordinary. And I won't go down and list their achievements, but just take it from me, extraordinary. And I said that in print. And then when I got to the second part, it's a 4-part pathway argument. We can talk the same language here. It was a 4-part pathway argument. And the second part is on the traditional university. And the first 5 pages, you don't read nothing else in the book except the introduction Charlie sent me, and the first 5 pages where I describe my ideal of the traditional great university. And it's 5 pages where I explain to the uninitiated what debate is about. And how if you don't extend the argument, okay, if it stops like these presidential debates do, with talking points being exchanged, right? If you don't extend, you lose. You don't know which side you're going to be on until the coin is flipped. okay? You just don't know. So you've got to anticipate everything. And then if you're doing debate the way we did it in the good old days, you know, there wasn't any of this glib parliamentary debate or you know, we did serious year-long topic policy debate. And my Lisa said she'd be horrified, my late wife and great love, Lisa, if she knew I were doing this to a group like this, but I'll just give it to you so you have a final story. NYU, I wasn't yet president, I was dean, but the then president would always have me interview the final slate of candidates for some big position at the university. And there was this great political scientist from Princeton named George Downs, and we were recruiting him for NYU. And they sent him over because I was the closer, you know, I was the closer. And George sat for what he thought was a half an hour conversation that ended up being 3. And at the end of it, he said to me, you know, they told me that you think out of the box, but you really are way out of the box with some of your ideas about education. You're really creative. And I looked at him, and it's the only time I ever said it to anybody, because Lisa put a cloture on me. But now, in this moving circumstance, talking to my parish of debaters, I'll tell you what I said to George. I said, you know, George, I am an excruciatingly slow reader. I read like 75 words a minute. I retain everything. I see the many meanings in the Delphic text. You know, I'm good at that, but it would take me a lifetime to read some of the books that you assume I've read, just because I'm where I am. This is a whole oeuvre of things that you assume that I know that I don't. But more importantly, I stopped my formal education after the 9th grade. And after the 9th grade, I did 2 things. Number 1, I wrote 19 doctoral dissertations. Now, I don't have 19 doctorates, I have 2. And George wasn't surprised. You don't have to write a dissertation for a JD. But I have a PhD in religion. And I said to him, George, the easiest of the 19 was the one that got me my PhD in religion. The other 18 were the 3 topics I debated on and the 15 topics that the girls of St. Brendan's debated on. Because by the end of the year, you had to know every branch of every argument and every twist of the kaleidoscope intellectually. I said, that was my education. And then I homeschooled myself. I homeschooled myself because Charlie said, play another octave of the piano. I wasn't going to let my debaters be just debaters. So I would learn the history of art and music to put those slides on the walls for them. Or to put on Tchaikovsky's Fifth. I would play the records, and I'd have to read and learn and teach myself. So George, it is not that I think out of the box. I don't know where the boxes are. I don't know where the boxes are, because I played many more notes than are in your boxes. Now that's what debate will do to your way of thinking. And the other thing it'll do is you will create friendships now that will live with you for the rest of your life. And some will be from your high school, some will be from people you've met here or at tournaments or whatever. So you should understand how important this moment is for you in potentia. Now, you've been given it. And this one, unlike being smart, you've earned, because you've gotten here. But you're only 10% down the journey of your life. From now on, use that tool of your intelligence well. And I didn't know about what you were going to do with this award. All I have to do, Travis, is say to you and to Bill and to Sky, thank you very much. It gives me comfort to know that in the world of debate, someone will ask someday, who the hell was John Sexton? So God bless you all.
The John E. Sexton Award will be presented shortly, but first, it's time to honor this year's Elite Eight teams. Today, these teams had the opportunity to supplement months of written scholarship with oral advocacy, competing in a series of individual debates before our judges. I would like to first recognize our four quarterfinalists. So at this time, I'd like to ask Mr. Brewer and Dr. Sexton to please come join me as we welcome the teams. We are going to begin with our quarterfinalists. UWC Southeast Asia, please come forward. You can go over here. Alex is going to give you your awards real quick. The Brewer Foundation is pleased to honor the team with a plaque and a $750 for the school's debate program. We'd now like to welcome Wasatch Independent Debate League to please come forward, head over by Alex and Leah. The team again will be presented with $750 for their school's debate program. We will now ask that our quarterfinalist team from Mountain View, Los Altos Speech and Debate please come forward. We would now like to welcome the team from Notre Dame San Jose. Please come forward. After the quarterfinal debates, 4 teams remained. At this time, we would like to recognize our semifinalists. We will begin with Mountain Vista High School. Please come forward. The Brewer Foundation is pleased to honor the team with a plaque and also $1,500 for their school's debate program. And now we would like to invite EEC Debate from Toronto, Canada. Please come forward. Again, the team receives a plaque and $1,500 for their school's debate program. Before we announce the new IPPF World Champion, it is time to announce the winner of the inaugural John E. Sexton Award. This award is being presented to the most outstanding competitor during the final debate as voted on by our final panel. On behalf of the Brewer Foundation and New York University, I'm pleased to present this award to Sanika Agarwalla from Hockaday School. Well, now to our final two teams. At 3:30 p.m. today, the Hockaday School from Dallas, Texas, and Potomac Oak from Rockville, Maryland, competed in a final nearly 2-hour debate in front of our judges. The judges each voted, and we are now going to welcome these teams to the stage before we announce the winner. Yes, and then we'll announce. Is she live or is she on film?
Oh, she's alive. She's just
No, I mean, is she?
she's in Dallas. She's not
She's back in Dallas. She is alive. These It is time for the big reveal. On behalf of the Brewer Foundation and NYU, I'm proud to announce that the winner of the 2022-23 International Public Policy Forum is Potomac Oak. Potomac Oak, if you don't mind, you step aside for 1 second so we can get a photo with our runner-up from the Hockaday School. Yes, yes. So as runner-up, the Hockaday School receives a trophy and $3,500 for their school's debate program. And now to our new IPPF World Champion, Potomac Oak. As our new IPPF World Champion, the team receives a $10,000 grand prize. That's $5,000 towards their school's debate program and $5,000 in individual scholarships. They also receive the Brewer Cup. Congratulations to the new IPPF World Champion. Well, thank you to all of you for joining us, helping us celebrate this year's Elite 8 teams. With this, we are now adjourned.